All right, welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks, everyone. It's the Tuesday evening edition. I'm your humble host, 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. If you're a regular viewer of this video, you know what you're in for here. It's the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast. If you're new to this, if you've never watched one of these, well, these tend to be, of course, a little longer than weather forecast videos that you may be used to, whether it be something from a TV newscast or an app or anything else. We really like to take a look at things in a great deal of detail here, both for people who just are really into the weather, and also people who maybe their job depends on the weather greatly, and they need a more detailed, more in-depth forecast with a lot of analysis than they're ever going to find on TV or on an app or social media. So this video geared to all of those groups, and sometimes we touch on astronomy and other fun sciencey things as well. But we're going to concentrate on weather tonight, a lot to talk about, and our big story so far in July, of course, has been how it's kind of dried out after a pretty wet spring and early summer. These are the numbers at the Youngstown Warren Airport in Vienna so far in July. A paltry 1.07 in the rain gauge at the airport. And most of that came on Sunday. Look how often we've had zero or trace amounts worth of rain at the airport so far this month. But, you know, in the summertime, I like to say your mileage can vary. And we've had as much rain just in the last handful of hours in some spots as the airport's had all month long. We've had some heavy downpours. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the current radar when I was recording this because it'll become pretty outdated. Most of you will be watching this well after this. But at this point, or at that point I should say, at 7:27, we had some thunderstorms moving through Lawrence County. These crossed the state line at about 7:25, and quite a bit of lightning in the western half of Lawrence County. This is tracking to the north and east, and Mercer County will be impacted. And well, we've had a fair amount of rain from some of these storms so far today, between an inch and even up to 2 inches possible. Perhaps the radar overestimating a little bit, but not by much. These downpours have been pretty impressive from New Middletown on east and southeast, and the Weather Service earlier on today hoisted a flood advisory for the eastern portions of Lawrence County due to some slow-moving, nearly stationary storms that were there earlier on today and dumped a fair amount of rain. We've also done pretty well in parts of Mercer County, not everywhere, but locally we've probably had over an inch, especially in the central and southern parts of Mercer County. This is all part of a pretty broad moist flow, an unusual weather pattern for this time of the year. We've got an upper low down over the southeast. We don't often see upper lows at this far south of latitude at this time of the year. These are more common in the cool weather seasons. But with a high over here and a low over here, we've got a funneling effect going on with moisture continuing to stream up through the mid-Atlantic states and dump a lot of rain in some places. Now, we haven't had the kind of problems locally, of course, that they've had off to the east, but a lot of problems with flooding from Pennsylvania on southward over the last few days. Here's a look at our high-res futurecast for tonight. It's doing an okay job with the placement of the storms this evening. It's a little off, but it's not terrible. I think its general idea overnight is right, though. You know, it's going to become pretty widely scattered, but there could be some renegade showers and storms, maybe even as late as 2 or 3 in the morning in a couple of spots. Certainly most of us won't see that, but it's possible. Tomorrow morning probably starts mostly dry, real small chances of showers. I think our higher risk of wet weather actually probably comes later in the day. So your big picture for Wednesday, it's hump day, and it's going to be a seasonable day. We're going for 82 for the forecast high on Wednesday. The average is 81. The record is 97 degrees. We're losing some daylight, of course, this time of the year. Notice our rain chances tomorrow. I have them kind of mid-morning on through mid-afternoon. That's when they're at their highest. They never get high, but that's when they probably are at their highest. Mid-morning through the first part of the afternoon. So cold fronts heading our way, some showers, small chance for thunder tomorrow. I don't think there's as much thunder locally tomorrow as there is today or has been today, but it's possible that a couple of these showers could get tall enough to lead to some thunder and lightning, and then our front rolls through by the end of the afternoon. You'll start to notice the difference in the air mass, I think, by about dinner time tomorrow. Step outside by 6, 7 o'clock, it's going to feel different. Some drier air starts to filter in, and that'll set the stage, I should say, for a pretty nice Thursday. Now, it's going to be warm Thursday as we get into a southwesterly flow, but I think we're dry, and I think the humidity is kind of a non-story, especially by July standards. Notice the showers off to our west Thursday afternoon. I think these wait until around or after sunset Thursday evening to possibly impact us. It's possible we see a couple of showers then overnight Thursday night and into Friday morning. A sprinkle maybe Friday afternoon. We're going to get into kind of a cool lake-enhanced flow Friday afternoon. and there might be a quick spritz or sprinkle. That should be about it. Here comes the drier air. There it is, zooming in time for the end of the weekend. It's going to be a comfortable weekend. I've got upper 70s in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. The humidity, again, a non-story Saturday and Sunday. As we get into next week, we might see the pattern try to repeat itself with another upper low trying to dumbbell south and east. And look at all this juice out ahead of it, getting pulled in from the Atlantic. So there could be more heavy rain threats along the East Coast next week. Will eventually start to turn a little bit more humid as we go into next week. But yeah, the dew points looking pretty nice late this week through Saturday and Sunday. So I really like what I'm seeing for the weekend. It's not going to be perfectly sunny Saturday or Sunday, but I mean, there'll be some fair weather clouds, but I think the weather will be pretty darn pleasant. Maybe not great swimming weather. Maybe for some a little on the cool side to jump in the pool. You know, I've got upper 70s in the forecast for the upcoming weekend. I want to talk briefly about August. I showed you the National Weather Service August forecast last week. This is a computer model I'm showing you here. This is the latest several runs averaged together of the climate forecast system for the month of August, showing a cool signal across the eastern part of the country. The Weather Service initial forecast for August suggested that we would probably have a near to somewhat above average month temperature-wise. So some interesting trends here. We'll get a new run of the European long-range forecast tonight. I'll take a look at that. If there's something interesting on that, I'll share it on social media. Of course, a lot of people have noticed how dry it's gotten lately. I talked a little bit about that earlier in the video. This is a look at that same model, rain forecast compared to average for the month of August, showing not much of a signal here locally. And that goes along with the Weather Service forecast that was issued last week. There really wasn't much of a signal in terms of above average or below average precipitation in August. A little more confidence in the temperature forecast, at least their forecast. Some of the latest computer modeling suggests that it may end up being a little bit cooler than that initial outlook that came out last week. So I'll have some updates on my thoughts for August as we get into next week and the official start of the month. I'll do an official August forecast during the first half of next week. Thanks for checking out Weather for Weather Geeks tonight. I'll keep you up to date on the thunderstorms, especially over Mercer County, over the next couple of hours. And I'll have a full update on your forecast, everything you need to know weather-wise tonight on 21 News at 11. Hope to see you then.